The buzz on the spin. "Uncle Sandwich," Kathy exclaims the moment she sees him. The little IKEA Maz was found stealing table scraps in Sector 5 by Demon had been hearing tales of ghosts from some of the stupider guests in the rich part of the station. The big man may resemble the missing link on steroids, but he was softer than cashmere with children, and the fact that the tiny rat girl has completely come out of her shell in just a few short months of being his daughter was a testament to that. "How are you, little lady?" Hoagie asks as he crouches down so he can hug the little girl who beams up at him. "Really good. I'm on break from my studies now. Daddy says that I'll be even better than him if I keep this up," she exclaims even as Chaz's hovers down and then puts a hand on her head to ruffle it. Yeah, for all the tough girl routine the Sharbis put out, kids are still something they're not going to even scowl at. Usually. "Good timing, Hoagie. I just finished the examination," Demon says, stepping out of his office. He picks up Kathy and sets the little girl on his massive shoulder. "Nothing weird is going on. They've been lying to you. No uptick in any of the medical offices or morgues due to overdose. The station's take hasn't changed much, and the only thing even slightly odd can be explained away by basic market flux. Import and export is solid. They've been trying to play you." "I figured as much. It's an idiot power play and trying to get administration involved in order to try and tip things into their own favor." "Who's an idiot?" Kathy asks from her perch above Hoagie, and he smiles. "A whole bunch of rather fishy and crabby people. I just came back from the wet works. They're playing a silly power game rather than just trying to do their best. Well, most of them are. A few just want to make sure they're... Oh, never mind. It's nothing you have to worry about. Silly AKAs and other wet races are doing silly things." "Is it funny, silly, or stupid silly?" Kathy asks. "Stupid silly," Hoagie says. "They're trying to get a grumpy referee to rule in their favor, and that does not ever work." "You don't look grumpy. If I was silly enough to be grumpy to you, your dad would tie knots in my arms," Hoagie remarks, and Demon waves him off. "I wouldn't do that. It'd be easier to crunch you into a little ball and bowl you down the hallway." Demon replies, and Hoagie rolls his eyes. "Anyways, here's the data in a nice orderly file. Take a few minutes with it before you make any major decisions." "Roger," Hoagie says as he takes the slate that Demon's holding out to him. "All right then. If there's nothing else, I have a long list of boring green text to watch," Demon remarks as he nods back to his office. "It better be green, otherwise we'll have to hurt someone for damaging the station or reneging on their maintenance duties." Hoagie remarks, and Demon snorts. "Thanks again, big guy. I've got an idea or three on how to deal with this, mostly on how to stop them from trying to involve us in their little power games." "Best of luck, Hoagie. You look exhausted," Demon remarks, and Hoagie shrugs, more annoyed. "It's like they think we don't actually do anything up here in administration." Hoagie remarks, and Demon just lets out a pensive sound. It takes Hoagie about 10 minutes to reach a final conclusion about everything, something all the gangs will hate but won't drive them to riot. Hopefully it's enough for them to not want to call on station admin again and avoid trouble. Stacking punitive fines on everyone simultaneously will keep them not only from causing trouble for fear of reprisal, but also make it so that any frame job is just going to get them all regardless. He sets the new order in place and, it takes them a lot less long to complain at him. He spends the next half hour just answering his very angry emails and lets them all know that screwing with him was what caused this. Then he turns off the program and leans back to regard his communicator. Two biggest problems sorted. Next. "Is there anything to do today that won't need me to physically get up?" he asks as he rises again. "What?" Chaziz begins to ask before yawning. "What's up?" "We have a few debt dodgers that were spotted in hivers. We find them or find out if they hit another section and pass it off to the people who take care of those places. But either way, we have a trinity of idiots to track down." Hoagie remarks as he starts heading out again. No rest for the wicked? Chazzy asks. Not a moment of it, Hoagie says as he heads back for the admin elevator that leads into Hivers, before tripping and staggering on but not falling. Hey, watch it, human, a Panceros woman says. She rises up on all fours to glare at him properly. Then stay in line of sight, woman. Good grief, he snaps back. Well, excuse me for walking properly, unlike some of the crazier girls on this station. You're excused, Hoagie says, turning away and continuing even as Chazzy fingers one of her knives while hovering at eye level with the Panceros. He grabs onto her leg and pulls her along with him. Oh, for the love of God! Hey, she was sassing you, Chazzy protests as they enter the elevator. Sass or not, she's either got a friend in admin or is admin, meaning it's way more of a problem than it's worth to space her. Hoagie answers and he taps a few buttons to send them down. Not to mention killing because someone's uppity sets a bad precedent. But it would make you feared. It's very hard to be feared without being hated. Harder still to keep it going. And if they ever hate you more than they fear you, well, they take the risk, Hoagie says. Big risk going up against the Berserkers, Chazzy says in an off-handed way. Don't go borrowing extra trouble. We get enough of it as is, Hoagie tells her as he begins to go through the camera feeds with a trinity of faces on the search. There are a lot of hits. Tret faces are pretty common and pretty standard, so there's a lot of hits. He narrows them down by hair color and starts to consider. Even in law-abiding public places, there's some expectation of privacy. The walkways and main entrances of buildings have cameras on them, but it's up to the residents if they want internal cameras. Forcing the issue further just got you a lot of broken tech no matter what kind of penalties you put on it. All three of the girls have been bumbling around near the docking area of the station, which made a lot of sense. The station could be pretty intimidating on your first visit, but it's also where the bitches who ran the biggest scams, bad deals, and gouged prices were found, which explains the debt the three had. They pulled some money, went to play in the casinos, and came up screwed. Not uncommon. So now the debt holders were pissed. The girls were pissy, and no one was happy. There's a pretty simple answer to this one. He uses station funds to buy the debt. This gets the moneylenders to calm their tits, and gives Hoagie the right to lock in their ship and have it send a nice little message that they need to have a little chat about that. So he sits down right in front of the airlock leading to their ship and allows Chazzy to relax in his lap. There's the whining, rumbling sound of someone trying to fight against the docking claws and magnetic clamps of the station. Yay, their little puddle jumper isn't going to go anywhere. Octaran Spin doesn't just have their ship outclassed, it has it outschooled. The airlock opens behind him and there's a pause. I bet you girls thought you were clever teleporting back into your ship and trying to take off, but the station holds your debt now, which means it's impounded and heading for scrap resale value unless you three are willing to cut a deal. So what? They send a man as some kind of bait? Lure us in with a handsome face and... The Tret doesn't get any further as Chazzy zips up and throws her knife. Hoagie turns and sees that, thankfully, Chazzy hasn't gone completely psychotic and just made the woman flinch rather than outright murdering her as he feared. He's with the Berserkers. Keep your oversized hands off him, Chazzy snaps. And the fact that I'm bigger than her? Hoagie asks the now nearly berserk Charbé. Clearly being underwater for as long as she was had not been good on her temper. Not as much padding or oversized nails. Chazzy replies instantly. What do you want? The Tret demands as Hoagie rises completely to tower over her. She takes a step back. Calm down. The station has your debt now, so it's not going to spiral through the cosmos, which means it can be paid off. But until it is, the ship is staying right where it is. And if the fees required to keep you docked grow too large, we're just going to scrap the ship. Which means you three need to earn some money. Hoagie says as he glances past her at the two Trets flanking either side of the door but peeking around to watch. What the void are we supposed to do? How do you earn money on a station? Nothing out here is naturally produced, and you really are an idiot, aren't you? Sign up for some scut work to hold you over and stop your debt from growing, then keep your eyes out for better jobs or ways to up the cash flow. But that could take years. That's what you get for borrowing and losing a lot of money. Chaziz scolds her. I mean, really, girl, what did you expect? To just skip out on things? This station deals with people like you so often that it's normal. You bet it is. We have 4 other ships being impounded as we speak due to debts. It's a slow day for it. But play around like an idiot, pay like an idiot. I've told you what you need to know and taken control of the debt. Contact station admin if you want to contest things like this. I have more to do today and I can't afford to waste any more time with you. What? There's apparently been a stabbing spree in some of the back alleys and several shootouts, thefts, and a few idiots that are completely high off something. What do they have? Could be anything, but what it is a problem, Hoagie says as he gives the Tret a somewhat incredulous look. Did you think you were doing something special? You need to up your game to be more than a passing interest in the day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some murderers to stop. He leaves behind the spluttering and vaguely offended Trets as he gets moving already. The morgue is his next destination. The station has a weird priority when it comes to things. Violence isn't taken as seriously as debt or theft, mostly because everyone's armed and starting a deadly fight usually ends bad for the perpetrator as often as the victim. At which point, what's the point? If the person causing problems took themselves off the guest list via stupidity, then what issue does the station have with that? All right, someone start talking to me. I'm with station administration and I want to know who's been stabbed and if we know why. I'm seeing 3 bodies and a lot of blood under the tarps, Hoagie asks as he enters the morgue. Earth Aromenta, a Platin, and an Angla. Earth Aromenta and Angla has the blood of the other 2 on her hands and had a big slab of a knife. The other 2 were covered in the Platin's blood and we found a scalpel and some expired knockout drugs. Organ runners? Hoagie asks. Organ runners whose victim woke up and took offense. Seems pretty cut and dry. The mortician, a weaver, Arachna says. Not necessarily. I want the information on everyone so I can start poking thorough their things. If someone's running an organ smuggling operation, then we need to stamp down on it. A reputation for shit like that in this station will drive away a lot of customers, and Minnie Sai won't be liking that. No, she won't. The problem is that our Platin friend here apparently hits like a truck and damn near ripped the faces off her attackers. The mortician continues and Hoagie pulls back on a tarp to see the face of a woman who seemed to have been both caved in and cut at the same time. The knife must have been both blunt and swung with enough force that if it hit anything but a person, it would have shattered. All right, more problems to deal with then. When can I see that information? Oh, give me a break. I've got a lot of legs but only 2 hands here. Give me time. The mortician demands and Hoagie holds up his hands in surrender. She's clearly having a long day of her own.